this week, June 1st, 2021, the ICC expanded the ODI World Cup to 14 teams and the T20 World Cup to 20 teams. Personally, I think this is a pretty good move since I was very against the 10-team World Cup, and the 16-team T20 World Cup is not really a 16-team T20 World Cup if you really look at the format. Anyways, here, let's get into the article. The 2027 Men's ODI World Cup will feature 14 teams after the ICC board decided to expand the quadrennial tournament in its next cycle of events. The decision came after a meeting on Tuesday amid a raft of significant changes to the ICC events calendar from 2023 to 2021. Sorry, 2031. I skipped that part a little bit. Champions Trophy will return as it left in 2017, an event with the top 8 ODI teams, and will take place first in 2025 and then again in 2029. The ICC board also decided to continue with the format for the World Test Championship, with 9 teams playing 6 series each to compete in the final every 2 years. These will be held in 2025, 27, 29, and 31. The inaugural edition of the World Test Championship will culminate in a final between India and New Zealand on June 18th. The second cycle will commence immediately after the title clash. We'll come back to this image in a bit. The most significant development, however, is the expansion of the 2027 and 2031 ODI World Cups, which will now feature 54 matches each. So this is following exactly the 2003 tournament. We'll get more into that at the bottom too. So calls for a bigger World Cup never stopped since they began after it was decided that the participation for the 2015 edition would become only 10 teams. As stands now, cricket has flip-flopped often between the size of its premier event. The 2023 World Cup in India, just like in 2019, will be the last or at least decade to feature 10 teams. And there will be a return to the 2003 edition with a Super Sixes stage, in, into which the top 3 teams from 2 groups of 7 will proceed. That will be followed by semifinals and finals. What this expansion will mean for the 13-team ODI Super League is not clear. I personally hope they stick with it because I think it's a great idea to have uh, the lower teams be able to get some series against the bigger teams. For example, with the Super League this time around, like Ireland, Netherlands, like they're getting series against like New Zealand and South Africa and like all their 3 match series. These type of series would never have happened before the Super League, so I hope the Super League stays. What else? The T20 World Cup, which the ICC sees as its vehicle to expanding the game, will see 20 teams spread across 4 groups of 5 each, with top 2 from each group entering the Super 8 stage. The knockouts, including the semifinals and a final, follow. The T20 World Cups are now going to be scheduled back to every 2 years, like it was prior to 2016. So it'll be in 2024, 26, 28, and 30, and it will comprise of 55 matches, which is pretty damn long, but whatever, more cricket for me to watch. Anyways, the Champions Trophy will retain the same format as in the past with 8 teams split across 2 groups of 4, and the top 2 sides from each group making the semifinals followed by final. Having the ICC event schedule confirmed through to 2031 is a significant step forward for our cricket and will form the basis of our growth strategy for the next decade. Exactly, that's why it was essential to have uh, like the World Cups have more teams. So 14 and 20 teams, I think those are decent sizes for both. Now here we can look at the itinerary for the next from 2024 to 2031. I'm only going to focus on the men's games. So in 2024, 2026, 2028, and 2030 gonna have the men's T20 World Cup. 2025 gonna have the World Test Championship final and the Champions Trophy. And then 2027 gonna have the men's ODI World Cup and then the World Test Championship final. And 2029 again Champions Trophy and World Test Championship final. And 2031 ODI World Cup and World Test Championship final. So I'm also really happy they're sticking with the World Test Championship. But now I just want to talk a little bit about the formats. I'll start with the 2000. Sorry, I'll start with the ODI World Cup. So it's gonna follow exactly the 2003 World Cup format, which I actually like because I feel like this is the best format in terms of competitiveness, and it's best from the ICC perspective as well, as they can get more of like the top marquee games. So if you don't remember, I can pull it up right here. Um, so in the 2003 World Cup, there were 2 groups of 7, similar to how there were 2 groups of 7 in 2011 and 15. But the difference was instead of 4 progressing to the next stage, only 3 teams from each group progress to the next stage. So I like this better since it adds more like competition in like the group stages. Because if you think back to like 2015, like or like even like the 2011 thing, like even if a top team does particularly bad, they'd still make the semifinals. Sorry, the quarterfinals. So for example, like Pakistan in 2015, they didn't really do that well, to be honest. But just because the format was easy, they were still able to make the quarterfinals in the fourth position. But they lost there, but still, they shouldn't have even made it to the quarterfinal, seeing how their performance was. So I like this better. And then from here, the teams go into a Super Six stage. So what happens here is, um, like if Australia made it to the Super Six, they're not gonna play India and Zimbabwe again because they already had their matches against those two teams. Rather, they're gonna play the three teams who made the Super Six from the other group, and that's gonna happen with all the six teams. They're not gonna play. They're gonna play people from the opposite group, not from the same group. And then from there will be the Super Six table, and then from there it will be semifinals and final. And then another reason I like this format is because of this PCF. So for people who don't remember, well, I don't remember either. I was hardly even a year old then. But the PCF system, basically, it also makes the group stages more important because your performance here actually matters. So I think the exact stuff is probably explained in here in like the actual Wikipedia. I'm not gonna go too long to explain all that, but basically any like wins against qualifying teams counted as more, and like wins against like even teams who didn't qualify, uh, like those points carried over as like half. So it was good because it made sure that there were less dead rubbers. So yeah, that's why I think the 2003 format for the ODI World Cup is the best. Now the T20 World Cup, I don't really think it had to be as long as they had it, but I don't hate it since again more matches. But they could have just done like how like the rugby World Cup is. They could have just done four groups of five and then just quarterfinals, semifinal, final. But you know it's the ICC and they have to add a bunch of matches. Sorry, my phone just went off. Lastly, the Champions Trophy. Now this one I'm kind of annoyed with because I would have much rather they had done instead of the top eight ODI teams, they should have done I think the top six teams and put them all in just one group, one big group of six. Everybody plays each other, and then there's just one final at the end. So if you actually calculate it, it would have been better even for the ICC because the format I'm saying would be 16 matches. The format they have currently is 15 matches, so one more match. And since each team, so there are less teams, but there's more matches, it means each team is playing more matches. So which means India, which is the top moneymaker for the ICC, would be playing more games. So I don't know why they didn't do that. I personally would have preferred that since if it's like a Champions Trophy, it should really just have like the top teams. Like I feel like cricket doesn't have enough teams to like warrant eight for the Champions Trophy. I think the Champions Trophy could have been like what they wanted the World Cup to be in like 2019 and 2023, where like it's just like the top teams playing against each other. That's what I would have preferred. But anyways, I'm really happy that they at least expanded the teams for the ODI and T20 World Cups because it gives the associate teams, you know, a lot more to play for because before and especially before the World Cup Super League, like they'd hardly get time to play. So if you want, you can read this article. There's a bunch of the associate teams, their coaches and their captains. They're real happy at the decision. I like that too. So just so we can see like ODI 14 teams, we can have like teams like obviously there will be qualifiers, but like let's just say if they were just taking it from the rankings, we get the additions of like Netherlands, Ireland, Zimbabwe, Scotland. It's like they all missed out on the 2019 World Cup, and I personally don't think they should have. And then T20, it's even more. There are going to be some teams like we've hardly even like ever really seen play at the international stage, like Singapore or like Papua New Guinea. We haven't seen them play that much. So or even Nepal. So the 14 and 20 team World Cups, in my opinion, good move. I like that the ICC did that. Anyway, that's all the information for today. Thanks.